So today we will be discussing after 110th slide. We have already discussed up to okay, but some division part is still there. So maybe we can start from here after 90th slides. So yesterday we are supposed to do this difference between a standard, sorted, and hashed internal table, right? Yesterday up till where we have been we have been up to 80th. Yes. Okay, so let's have a quick look on this. What are the different types of OpenSQL? So these are the different types of OpenSQL we are having over here. Uh, and it has to follow the ACID property, right? This is what we have seen. And now here, the different types of join we have seen in detail, all right? Uh, Before NetWeaver 7.0, we only the inner join was supported and left outer join was supported, but now right outer join, and this I need to check full outer join whether it is supported or not, but I believe this is also supported. Okay, so this is a story of the join. Here syntaxes are there for inner join, and these are the syntaxes which we have seen. And these are the very important, what are the important internal table operations? So insert, update, modify, search, append, and sort. These are the very important internal table operations. Then what is the difference between update and modify? So update and modify is the combination of insert and update, whereas update is only going to update the existing record, right? So we have seen in detail, very very important, very important, the difference between update and modify. Then what is the consideration in case of HANA database and non-HANA DB with respect to inner join and for all entries? So for all entries, we are supposed to use. So if you talk about a HANA database, right? So up to 20 tables we can use the inner join, and that is completely fine. There is no problem if HANA database is there. Okay, for all entries also can be used. Both can be used, but in non-HANA database like Oracle, Sybase, Informix, and all, there it is not recommended on more than two tables. Rather, we are supposed to use, for all entries, right? So this we have seen here the internal table, three types of internal table, and these are the differences between them. This can be also an important question. What are the difference between a standard, you know, uh, a standard uh, sorted and hashed internal table? Okay, so this is here we have. And now what is primary key and secondary key and how it is defined in different internal tables? So the very first key will be known as the primary key, and after defining the primary key, all right, so this is with non-unique key, you can see with non-unique key, with unique key. So the very first key which is going to be defined is known as the primary key, and after that whatever it is here, you can see this is the types statement, tt underscore employee type a standard table of ts underscore employee with non-unique key. So the first is going to be primary key, and second with non-unique key with unique hashed key. These two are going to be the secondary key. Okay, so this is how primary key and secondary key gets defined. And in a standard table, if you don't define anything by default, the character data type field is going to be your standard key by default. Okay, what's the difference between a standard, sorted, and a hash table over here? This is again one important interview question which we should know. The here the differences is there. So in sorted, In a standard internal table and sorted internal table, indexed based operation is supported, whereas in hashed internal table, indexed based operation means modify, append, delete, insert, wherever we can use the index, that is known as the index based operation. Okay, whereas in hashed internal table, index uh, based operation is not supported, and the way of defining them is again different. Type hash table of we use here, we use the type sorted table of, and here we use the type table of, right? Here in a standard internal table, append plus insert both possible. Here also both possible because both are index based operation. Sometimes somewhere you will be looking that append is not possible. You might have seen on sorted internal table append is not possible, but not, that is not true. Append is also possible if you are going to append the right data. If you're not going to append the right data in the sorted order, it will go into dump. Okay, here no append no insert is possible in the hashed internal table, right? And here again the sorting prerequisite in order to use the binary search, the fourth one, it is required. You must have to do the sorting if you want to apply the binary search. And here the in the sorted internal table, you don't have to do the sorting, automatically it is sorted. And here in the hashed internal table, no binary search, no sequential search, nothing is nothing is nothing is required. Nothing can be done binary search and sequential search, because it works on the hash algorithm, right? It determines the hash key, and from that it's going to be find out. That's why the hash internal table is independent of number of records, and when we are having the large number of records, we are going to use the hash internal table. And generally such scenario comes under the BI or BW, or in analytics, right? So BI or BW, these are the analytics tool where we are having large amount data to be processed, and that's where the hash internal table is frequently used. Sorted internal table, if you have more than 100 records, this is how the SAP standard documentation is telling that if you have more than 100 records, use sorted internal table. However, if you have till 100 records in an internal table, we can use 100, we can use the standard internal table. Okay, but we generally use more than for more than 100 records as well, this is standard internal table, because it's flexible. We can sort, and we can use the binary search for searching the data and all, so that's fine. But this is what SAP standard documentation tell, that this is suitable, this is the perfect candidate for 100 records, this is for more than 100 records, and this is for large amount of data. Okay, more than 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh, like that. Different modularization technique include program, subroutine, and function module. These are the different modularization technique, and these are the benefits: readability, reusability, and maintenance. Okay. What is the mandatory check for all entries? Very, 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 very important question, and very frequently asked question. That's why, 3V, very, very, very important. We have marked it. The mandatory check is initiality check. We must have to check whether the internal table is initial or not. If it is not initial, then only go ahead and do the for all entries. Otherwise, just leave. What are the optional best practices before using the for all entry? So another check what you can perform: sort the internal table and delete the adjacent duplicates, right? This is what we can do. And one more thing what you can do, uh, select all the key field, right, in selection. So what will happen that whenever we get uh, records using the for all entries from the database table, if it is having some duplicate record, it will automatically delete them. So if you don't want to get the data loss, in that case what you must have to do, select all the key fields, because key fields is going to determine your unique record. So in that case what will happen, that it will not delete your duplicate records. So if you don't want to have the data loss, right, you want to get all the data properly, so in that case select all the key fields without any fault. This is important point, I have just missed this one. Select all the key fields in select query. If you don't want to have the data loss, okay, means deletion of duplicate record, deletion of duplicate record. Very important point. Okay, so if any one of you are not able to understand this point, just let me know, I will explain in more detail. This is important one, you can just write here in the chat box if you want me to elaborate more. Fine, I believe you understood. Now let's go. Okay, some more point was here. If the internal table records is not filled, then what impact will be when use the for all entry? So what impact, you know already, it's going to fetch all the records, right, from the database, which is not actually desired, right? So that's the problem, means that's the problem. This is again one tricky interview question, right? They can ask if for all entries table is not having any records, and when you are going to put the select query, then what are the data you are going to have into the internal table, in the target table where you are fetching the data. So it will fetch all the data if no data in the for all entries internal table. What is the difference between pass by value and pass by reference? When we were learning the C programming there, at that point of time, this was one of the very uh, frequently asked interview questions, right? For the campus selection and all, it used to be asked very frequently. Pass by value and pass by a reference, right? So pass by value and pass by reference. Pass by reference means you are going to access the data using their address, right? You are going to access the data using their address. On the other hand, pass by value means you are directly going to access the data by their content, okay? By their content. You are going to access the content by their content directly, whereas you are going to access the content over here by their address, okay? So data access happens by copying the value from one variable to another variable. You just copy the value. If you're going to, uh, if you're going to use the pass by value, and if you want to copy the value, then in that case, directly value will get copied from value to value. Okay, from value to value, it will get copied. So both the variable is going to have the different memory location. Suppose if you are having two variable a and b, and if you want to pass the content of one variable to another variable, both will be having the separate references, separate address in the memory. Whereas in the pass by reference, both the variable is going to refer the same address. Okay, so pass by reference, that's how, if you have the variable a and if you have the variable b, and if you want to access the content of a, simply what you are going to do, you are going to refer the address of a to, you know variable b, so that b will start pointing to the content of a. Okay, so data access happens by passing the address of one variable to another. Second point, with respect to subroutine, so if you check this pass by value in subroutine, right, changing the value in formal parameter will not reflect back into the actual parameter because it's a pass by value, right? It's not referring to the address. Okay, so if you are going to change the value in formal parameter, you know that we will be having one actual parameter and we'll be having one formal parameter. So formal parameter will be there in the subroutine, whereas the actual parameter is going to be there in the actual performance statement, right? So perform some task using a b, so a and b is going to be here the actual parameter, and form some task using a and b. So here, when whatever we use in form, that is known as the formal parameter. Okay, so If you are going to change some value in the formal parameter, it will not get reflect back into the actual parameter. That's the meaning of that's the meaning of pass by value. It's not going to reflect back because both is having their own memory reference. Here, with respect to subroutine, changing the value in formal parameter will reflect back into the actual parameter. Why? Because both are pointing to the same memory address. Okay, good. Another question, in case of RFC function module, is it possible to have the pass by reference parameter? No, not possible. Why? Because memory reference is not possible in two different system or session. We have discussed this part. What is RFC function module? We know this is basically a FM only, but it can be called from outside of the current system. Okay. Then what is function module in SAP? Function module is one of the most popular modularization technique in SAP, right? SAP has created many standard function module and we directly use it without understanding the actual implementation process. Just we know what it is going to do, but we don't bother that how it's going to do, right? All the function modules must required a function group. Without function group, there is no meaning of function modules. Even you won't be able to create. Why? Because function group uh, kind of it gives a kind of environment where function module gets executed. So it is basically a program. Function group, if you go and check, it will be having one component called master program. So whenever any function module gets loaded, entire function group in the memory will be loaded. Okay. What is function group? It is a collection of function modules which governs the function module source code, right? All the function group is having a master program associated with it, right? That master program contains all the function modules in form of includes, right? Go and check if you have not seen. And whenever a function module loaded, whenever a function module are loaded, all the function uh, complete function group complete function group is loaded into memory. Okay, now extra steps to create the RFC FM remote enabled option you have to select, and make sure all the parameters should be of type pass by value. It will not support the pass by reference. Okay. Now, what is update function module? So update function module is just for the purpose of achieving the SAP LUW, either all or none. We have discussed this part, right? So I have uploaded all the videos on the YouTube, previous videos. There you can go and check if you have missed any of the previous session. Now, what is the different types of function module and what are the differences between them? So different function module here, normal or regular FM, RFC FM and update FM. It, it can be called inside the system. Here pass by value plus pass by reference, both is fine in the normal function module. In the RFC function module, you can call from same system or from another system, right? In RFC function module, you can only have the pass by value. In the same system, if you are going to use the destination as none, it is going to be executed in a different internal session. Okay. Update FM, this is generally used to update the database record, asynchronously, and it's going to get execute when commit work statements are executed. Then update FM can be called from the same system, background RFC, TRFC, or QRFC. So here update FM can be called from the same system, but when if you want to use in another system, update FM, then this background RFC, TRFC. So this is the concept in if you want to use in another system, you know, another system, then if you want to achieve the same same behavior like update FM uh, in a different system, in an external system, then we go for this concept: background RFC, TRFC, and QRFC. Okay, so let me mark it little small. Yeah, so this is how it is. This is used to achieve generally the SAP LUWS, and it can be called asynchronously also, right? Sometimes we use from performance perspective, right? Also, where we can check the log for this SM13. Okay, so for update maintenance, we are having the transaction called SM13. I'm just typing over here SM13. So you can go and check the update log over there. When commit work gets executed, then update gets starts getting executed, right? So when the commit works comes into the picture, then update function module gets triggered. Good. Now, when update function module gets triggered on commit work, right? If update function module gets failed, under which transaction we can see that, or what is the T code for monitoring the update function module's failure, SM13, right? This is what this is that, uh, that update maintenance log, update maintenance T code. This is the SM13. If something is going to be fail or something is going to be successful, this is the transaction. SM13 for the update maintenance, for the update log, and SM12 for the log management. Okay, log management, SM12. Remember, they are very important transaction and very frequently used if you are there in a support project. Okay, SM12 and SM13. One is for log management and another is for, you know update management. Okay, what is the syntax for update function module? So this is a syntax called function module in update task, right? SM13 for log for TRFC, BGRFC, SM58 for TRFC. You have to go and check SM58. Okay, for BGRFC also, I believe SM58. For BGRFC, I'm not sure, but for TRFC, SM58 we use for, you know uh, uh, you know uh, so just to go and check. So here her case has asked this question. Okay, yeah, so for TRFC, for SM13 is for update management, not for TRFC. Okay, SM13 means if you have created some report and where you have called the FM like this, and if you want to check if some update function module has failed over there or it has been passed over there, then you know then SM13 comes into the picture. But if you just want to check whether you're some TRFC, like generally we go and check in is for SM58 when some workflow call, right? Workflow task generally gets called in TRFC, right? So some workflow steps is getting missed, so we go and check over there in SM58. Or you are going to call some TRFC, or for BGRFC, I'm not sure where to check. I think SM58 can be checked once, maybe in SM50, but for TRFC, SM58 is the transaction where we can go and check. If any one of you know about where we can check the background RFC, you can just write over here so that other people, can know, and I can also know. Here, when more than one update FMs are there, where is it stored and what sequence it triggers, right? So whenever we are having the update function modules calls in the program, from the program, multiple update FMs, right? So it will start going and sitting in a queue, and that queue is known as the update queue. And whenever the commit work comes into the picture, one by one in the sequence in which it is registered, based upon the priority of the update function module, it gets executed, right? So we have understood this part, and on the YouTube very well I have explained each and everything. Okay, here see the priority. In the update function module, we are having the v1 update, v2 update, right? So it is not always that in the sequence it's going to be executed. It depends on the priority of the update function module, right? So in the update function module, the v1 update, this is also known as the important update or critical update. V2 update stands for less critical. It will be outside of the LUW, right? And collective run. So for whenever you will be having the collective run, one batch job need to be scheduled, and that is going to be, you know, uh, that batch job name is this one, RSM 13005. This program optimizes and runs collective FM. So this program need to be scheduled in the background on some certain interval, so that whenever the collective run has been scheduled, collective run function module have been called, that is going to be run. So this is just for your learning purpose, or for architect, at architect level these questions can be asked, or people ask, because architect are supposed to know. Now, what is collective run and run update function module, right? We are talking about this one. So collective run function module is nothing but, when you have a same task repeated twice or thrice. Suppose one number need to be added, 1 plus 1. In one function module, you have added 1 plus 1. So it will become 2. Again, the same function module you have called in update task, 1 plus 1, 2, right? So the same variable, it's going to be, so let's suppose you have the variable called x, okay? And initially that function module is going to increase that variable by 1. So initial value of x is, let's suppose, 1, and that function module is going to increase the variable value by 1. So what will be the value when that particular function module will run? It will be 2, right? 1 plus 1, it will become 2. Again, that same function module, if it is going to get run, it will become what? 1 plus 1 plus 1. Earlier it was 2, so now it will 2 plus 1, so it will be 3. Now again, the same function module, if it's going to get called uh, at some another point in the program, what will become? 3 plus 1, 4. So the same function module is going called thrice, and that's why its value is going to become, based upon the calling times. So if it is going to get called 4 times, the value will become 4. If it's going to call 3 times, the value will become 3, right? And we know that this same function module has been called 3 times. It has given the value 3. Why not to call, right, the same function module and there add 1 plus 1 plus 1? So collectively, why not to run in one go? So one by one, one by one, one by one, we will go and run it. So that is what this collective run, that stands for the collective run. Collectively we are going to add the value over here. So this is what I'm try to make you understand over here. Beside v1 and v2 function modules, there are also collective run function modules. Unlike v1 and v2, these function modules are not updated automatically. We need to schedule this program. So after 10 minutes, the session will be disconnected. Again, you are supposed to connect, because still I am not able to purchase this one. Maybe today I will get my query resolved and I will be able to buy it. From tomorrow onwards, will not face any issue. Okay, fine. They are only updated if report RSM 13005 starts the update, right? When it is going to be, executed. Then all the calls for the function module are collected, compressed, and updated at one time. Collective runs are handled like V2 update module. Okay. Example over here, a function module increases a statical entry by 1. It is called 10 times during the transaction. If you implement the collective run as a V2 function module, the function module is updated 10 times, returned to the database 10 times after the V1 update is complete. If you classify this as a collective run, you can achieve in a single go. That's the benefit of a collective run. You are going to achieve the performance better. Okay, good. So now see here, this we have discussed, right? Suppose in this sequence your update FM have been called, then when it comes through the commit work statement, how it's going to be executed, right? So fresher, you don't worry, these are mostly for 5+ years of experience. Okay, if you want to understand in detail, it is there on the YouTube. You can go and check. It is for free. You can go and check that one. Here, what is select options? So select options here, it is an internal table with header line containing the field the sign option low high. Important question. Many a times in interview it is asked. Okay. What is the event and what are those event in reports? So it is triggering mechanism with the help of which we can take any action, right? F8 or enter, then particular section of the code will be executed. So basic report event these are, and the interactive report event are these are. So very, very important question, right? We should be able to remember always. Okay. So let me read out. First is the load of program initialization at selection screen on value request for at selection screen output, right? Uh, at selection, start of selection, end of selection has been obsolete, top of page, end of page, right? And in interactive report, at line selection, at user command, at PFN, right? So when you're going to press F5 or F6, right, it's going to you can handle accordingly the action. Top of page during line selection and end of page during line selection. The default event is start of selection. Okay. What are the different events and how is their flow of the program? What are the different events and how is their flow of the program? This is how we have seen, right? So just go through that. This is very, very important. So load of program initialization, right? And if you have the selection screen, this will come. And then after this will come again, these, and this, right? And if you're going to click on the back button, it will go to the load of program, then initialization, and again, it will go to the selection screen. If we're going to press enter, see here in the green, I have written over here. If we're going to press enter, it will go to the at selection screen event, then again at selection screen output, and again it will come to the selection screen. So here you can resonate with green, this green, 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 that means this is the inter sequence effect. When you are going to press effect, that means from here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here, here. Again, if you're going to click on back button, it will go here, here, and here. This is how the flow is there if you have the selection screen. If you don't have the selection screen, then it will go in this way: load of program, initialization, start of selection, and end of selection. Fine. So now this is again very important question, right? Very important question. VVA question. What's the difference between at selection screen and at selection screen output? Okay. So validation purpose, this add selection screen is for the validation purpose. And here, whenever any screen properties need to be changed, then this event is required. And at selection screen, when we take any action on the selection screen, at selection screen events gets triggered. And here, just before displaying the selection screen, this event gets triggered. This is like a this is like a you know PAI, process after input of the module pool, and this is like a PBO of the module pool. Here, what happens when we press F8 on reports selection screen and when you press enter, right? So when you will be pressing enter, it will be there itself on the selection screen itself. If you press F8, the sequence is going to be like this. It will move ahead from at selection screen. It will come to at selection screen. It will do the validation and then it will go ahead, right? So that is how it happens when you press F8 and when you press enter, right? So this is what we have written. Again, here, this is one important point. What is the difference between load of program and initialization event? Sometimes it is asked. This question is very frequently, not very frequently, but this is very, very important question. Sometimes people ask, popular question. So load of program and initialization, what's the difference? Okay, what's the difference? So the difference between load of program and initialization is that, you know, when you run a program, the very first event which is going to be get loaded, that is the load of program. The very first event which is going to be loaded is a load of program. This is going to be called load of program. After that, initialization gets triggered whenever you run a program. Okay, whenever you run a program, this is how it happens. Now suppose if you have a program, and from one program you are going to call another program under the submit statement. In which statement? In the submit statement. Okay, so when you call under the submit statement, this load of program will be 100% called. It will submit the program, it will load the program. But when you are going to call one subroutine of another program for a current program, from a current program, then it will not call the load of program, it will call the initialization event. Mind here, whenever you use the submit statement in your program, suppose if you have a program here, suppose you have a program here, program A. Okay, program A, and here you have one another program called program B. In this program A, you have written submit statement, submit program B. Okay, submit program B. So submit B you have written. B is the name of this report. Okay, so when you are going to use the submit B, the load of program event will be called, will be triggered. Load of program event will be triggered. But so when load of program event will be triggered, when you are going to execute this effort, when you are going to execute this program A using the effort button, right? Using the execute button, then this program A will be loaded, will be calling first this load of program, and when the submit B statement will come, then this program B will also trigger the its own load of program event. Okay, now now we understood over here there are two scenarios in which, okay, so after 1 minute it will be disconnected again, login. Okay, so uh, so what we understood, that the load of program event gets triggered in two situation. One, when we are going to run a program using F8, and another when we are going to use the submit statement. In two scenarios, this load of program gets called. On the other hand, initialization gets called on F8. On when you are going to press F8, then also this will be called after load of program. But suppose in this program B, okay, so let me disconnect, it's going to disconnect, and after that I will start explaining this one. So I'm going to end again, join.